Good evening, boys and girls. This is Mrs. Layton, and tonight's video lesson is on theoretical and experimental probability. Okay, if you need time to pause this video and take notes, you can do that right now. Okay? Alright, so the first thing you should have written down in your notes is theoretical probability. And the definition of that is what should happen when conducting a probability experiment. And that's what we've talked about so far in class. When we are rolling a number cube, the probability of rolling a 5, remember we would find the favorable outcomes and put it over the total possible outcomes, which would be 1 over 6. Another example that you can write down in your notes is rolling a number cube and the probability of it being on evens. Well, how many evens are there? The favorable outcome. There are 3 evens on a number cube, and the total possible outcomes is 6. And that simplifies to 1/2. Okay, so that's theoretical probability, what should happen in theory. Okay, experimental probability is a little different. It's what actually occurred during an experiment. So you did the experiment and what actually did happen. Okay, an example of this would be that you actually did roll the number cube 12 times and it landed on an even number 7 times. So how many times did we land on what we're looking for? An even number 7 times, and then the total times that you rolled the number cube would go as the denominator, and that would be 12. And this is simplified, and if you compare it, the theoretical and experimental probability, they're not the same here. And for it to have been the same, for them to have been equivalent, you would have had to roll an even 6 times, because that would have simplified 6 over 12 to 1/2. Okay, we were close, but we had an even number just one more time than the theoretical 1/2 probability. So, this is the last thing I want you to write down. The theoretical and experimental probability of an event may or may not be the same. It could not. Okay? The more times, though, that you conduct an event, the closer the theoretical and experimental probability become. Okay, so in that number cube example, we rolled the number cube 12 times and we got an even number 7 times. We'll try it 50 times or 100 times, and the more you do it, the closer it should be. We were pretty close with the 12 times. Okay, so I want you to try it tonight. Find a coin, possibly, that would probably be an easy one. If you have a quarter or a dime, a penny, whatever, and the probability of the coin landing on heads would be 1/2, because there's 1 head side and 2 total possibilities. So it would be 1/2. Now, not every time, though, that you flip a coin twice is it going to land on heads once. It could land on tails both times, or it could land on heads both times. So I want you to try it, and then I want you to try it 100 times and see how many times it lands on heads or tails, whichever one you want. And I want you to record that and bring that into class tomorrow. Okay, have a good evening. Thank you.